Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Rahat Kazmi. Just to give you a little background, I'm actually an accountant by profession and have been working as corporate trainer and lecturer in higher education in UK. Corporate training wise, I travel most of Middle East and train people in business, accounting, and finance. So I've done this lecture before a few times, training some lecturers and some professionals, but hopefully it should be able to help some people here as well, some teachers who are dedicated the time to teach students here in MUS. The topic today is learner engagement, and I've been told that we don't have enough time because of Zohor, but we'll try to do as quick as we can, trying to make some sense at the same time. Okay. So guys, I will not cover the housekeeping now. Housekeeping is general, basically if somebody wants to ask a question, please, simply raise your hand or talk to me instead of, don't wait for me to sort of, look through the text messages because we only got limited time. So if you got a question, just simply stop me and ask a question. I'll be very happy to come back to you. Okay, and of course, in case you have anybody needs to go to the toilet, please, simply go there and come back, and please keep your mobile phones on silent if you don't mind. Topics we'll cover today is, first of all, what is learner engagement in the real world? Be a strategic learning advisor. Create learning athletes. This is actually a very important concept. I'll go through it and explain to everyone. Then it'll be for mentors, for trainers, teachers. Refuel, recharge, and refresh your mind. The next topic is passive versus active learning. Then we had engagement strategies for learners, understanding knowledge and respecting your students, being passionate and enthusiastic, incorporating technology into mix, encouraging active learning and critical thinking, connecting to the real, to the world outside of academia. These are topics, and I will go through briefly with them, and then hopefully it'll all make sense to a lot of you, or all of you, hopefully. Okay, first of all, we got the learner engagement in the real world. If you look at the picture here, guys, if you see that picture here, first one, we got picture here of heart and mind. Okay, if you're not providing learning experiences which connect to people's heart and minds, you're really wasting your time and wasting their time as well. We need to make sure that we engage people through their hearts and minds. People like what you're saying to them. People sort of love what you're saying to them. They understand it and they love it. Be inspired and feel empowered to engage your learners. No lecturer, no trainer, no teacher can engage anyone or motivate anyone if you're not motivated or inspired yourself. You have to be motivated, inspired yourself before you can inspire or motivate other people. Instructional moments have also changed from, there was a time when we were in schools and colleges at that time. We had one class full of 30, 40 students maybe, and that was one too many. But these days, we have choices there. We can have learning one-to-one, experiential learning on demand, self-paced. We have so many different ways of learning. So, things have changed. We have to work accordingly as the technology is. Instead of thinking about how I've done things in the past, a lot of people say to you, I've been teaching and lecturing for 30 years. I've done this and that. Fine, fair enough, that's very good. We must think now, okay, we try a lot of things. What we have not tried, anything we have not tried, let's try that. See if that works better than what we have done before. Your learners are your audience, and they're looking for experiences. We need to make sure when we teach people, when we train people, when we mentor them, we create some learning experiences for them. We create some memorable moments for them. Okay, then we need to make sure, when I was in school, in college, I don't remember everything, okay? Everything teacher said. I remember few things, a few teachers and lectures. For example, one teacher, when I was doing BSc in mathematics, a teacher said to us, he said, when you are reading a book, read the book from, let's say, from the start of the page where the author's name is, the book name is, and go to the end of the page, end of the book where the price of the book is, and read everything. If you want to learn properly, read everything. Don't miss anything at all. Don't do selective study, because then you will not gain the proper knowledge. So still remember that I always teach my students as well, my learners as well. If you want to learn something precisely, go through everything. Don't skip anything at all. And one other teacher said to us, he said to us, when you want to learn something by writing it down. by writing into headings and subheadings. I still remember that because those are, those teachers did create for me the memorable moments in school and college. I forgot the rest of it. Okay, it's been a long time, but I forgot the rest of it. But those things I still remember. We need to make sure we create those moments for our students. Either it could be MUS, or it could be, in the professional life where you teach and train. Okay, consider the concept of the boom in your next teaching. When you prepare next teaching lessons or lesson plans, try to create some boom moments in them. So basically, they can create a boom environment for students. Okay, they can basically create some memorable moments for your students, so they can remember for the rest of their lives. Okay, like I give you two examples of two teachers, one from the school, one from the college. Okay, I still remember them since a long time ago. So we need to create that boom moment for our students in the next lesson we have. Okay, next topic is be a strategic learning advisor. Okay, we need to think ahead. We need to think in the long term, think out of the box. We need to create that environment that everyone like us can think out of the box and think ahead. We need to attract and retain learner talent. We need to make sure, let's say we're trying to create a brand of MUS learning. So in MUS, we need to attract more students. Everybody can hear good stories about teaching and learning. They come to us, and then we create the talent and retain the talent. Okay, we need to develop people's capabilities. We need to sort of have an action plan where when people started, what did they learn already, what they already knew, and what they have done after they finished. So this is basically trying to build on capabilities, trying to fill the gaps they have. Okay, when they started, what the knowledge and skill they came with, and when they left, what capabilities, what skills they left with it. Okay, then we need to create those capabilities to make sure that we have done our job properly. Create a value-based culture. We need to make sure every time we spend some time, it creates value. It just doesn't waste time. We just don't look at the watch and say, okay, we started this time, finish this time, start time, end time. We need to look at focus on creating some value. Okay, build an employer brand. In this case, our employer brand would be MUS. We need to make sure that we give service in such a way that people, they're inspired by it. They tell more people about it. Okay, the word of mouth can really be great. Okay, we need to motivate and engage learners. We need to make sure we need to motivate our students. We can only motivate our students if we are motivated and learners and engage learner ourselves. Because for a teacher, for a lecturer, for a trainer, learning never stops. It goes on. For example, if I'm asked to do a corporate training course next week, I have to learn this course first of all to that high level. Then I can go and teach people as well. Okay, so if you are a teacher, you have to keep learning yourself. So need to be really active, engaged learners. And we should be motivated ourselves, then we can pass on the same passion to our students. People listen, if you have any question, please, okay, stop me anytime. Don't be shy, okay? Just, talk to me whenever you like, okay? Next one, guys, this topic is very important. I think this is most valuable. We need to create learning athletes. This is a concept of creating athletes. When you see athletes, they don't just show up to the competition. They work day and night. Okay, they work for, let's say, go into quarterfinals. Then they work very hard to go into semi-final and final. Some become champions, some win awards. Okay, this is not only, this doesn't go without working very, very hard, extremely hard. They need to maybe set a world record, for example. Okay, so we need to create the same atmosphere for our learners. We need to create them learning athletes, so they can work extra hard, work that hard. They can show that much of passion when they learn with us. Okay, then only when they can really make a difference in their own lives. Okay, in the life of our brand as well. One more thing, okay, is focusing on micro learning. Courses are great, but videos work as well. We need to make sure that when we create our lessons, they should have a lot of things in them. Okay, because everyone learns differently. If we just have lecture only, no pictures, no videos, okay, then of course some people will not be able to get as much as they should. So we need to create, some kind of learning aspect for everyone, some kind of interest in learning for everyone. So videos can make good sense. Pictures, sometimes they can translate the text into, an idea straight away. Pictures can make your learning quite fast. Last thing, okay, is we have to be consistent. We need to show consistency. Let's say we tried one technique of teaching or learning. We can't change our technique the following week to a different one, and the following week to a different one. Because when people are when they like our technique, they like us to stay consistent as well. So they can learn from us, they can Otherwise, we'll just simply be confusing them if you keep changing techniques every single week, every single month. Don't give yourself whiplash or your learners by pivoting from tactic to tactic. We need to make sure that we tried the technique, we tried it fully, completely. We give it some variable time before we can basically go on to the next one. All right. Brain maps, learning and habits. We need to make sure everybody has a brain map. We need to make sure that we can try to understand the brain map of students. Okay, brain map of what are they learning, what did they learn before. We need to connect what they learned previously to what they're going to learn next week. Okay, the following week and following lessons. We need to create the learning habits. Okay, this is very important. We need to make sure people get into habit of learning. They sort of they do things as a default instead of just working very hard for it. Okay, we can talk about a small learning model here. It's called Oscar. It's very well used, in corporate training and other, top universities. Basically, what this Oscar means is outcome, situation, choices, and consequences, actions, and review. Outcome basically stands for help learners to clarify their outcome. Basically, there's one word used called WIIFM. It's not the name of a radio station, guys. Basically means what's in it for me. What's in it for me basically means students need to know. They will ask you a question. Why should I learn this? What will the outcome? What will the result of it? So need to explain to students, clarify what the outcome of learning will be. Once they understand it, of course, their motivation, their engagement will go up. Situation will be established where the learner is now. We need to understand their learning gap, their gap, their map of learning, where they know, where you want to take them. It is very important. That's called situation. We need to understand the situation and make clear the students also understand what the situation is. Then we have choices and consequences. Help learners generate as many choices as possible and highlight consequences to each potential choice. We need to tell them, if they select choice number 1, there'll be consequences to that. Choice number 2 have another different consequence. It could be positive consequences and negative consequences. We need to make sure we explain to them what the choices or consequences are. Next one is we have actions. Help the learners establish their next steps and encourage responsibility for their action plan. So basically, we need to make sure we let students into thinking model of thinking out of the box, so they can see exactly what this. If we do this in little time later, a long time later, this will happen. Okay, they need to have every action will have some kind of every action we take will have some different kind of results later on. So we had to have action plan accordingly. Next one is review. Create an ongoing dialogue of review and evaluation with learners continuously checking that they are on course. We need to make sure we review their progress and students themselves, they review their progress as well. If they're old enough to do that, make sure that we can see that they're on track, what they're supposed to do, what their, the whole objective was to learn. They are still doing the same thing. They're still on the right track. They're not gone sidetracked. Okay, this is basically review. So Oscar basically is outcome, situation, choice and consequence, situation, action, and review. Let's move on. Okay, this is also, guys, it might make some humorous sense as well, but of course, it's works very well for me when I go talk to people. I ask them to refuel, recharge, and refresh your mind. Let me start with example, guys. Okay, if you have a car which has a dead battery, you can't charge the battery with another dead battery. You need to bring a fully charged battery to charge a dead battery. So basically here, when it comes to refuel, recharge, refresh basically means that we as trainers, as teachers, as mentors, we have to refuel ourselves, we have to recharge ourselves, we have to refresh our mind. We need to get the fresh knowledge, fresh set of skills before we go and teach other people. If we don't do that, it will make our learners absolutely boring, as they call it. They will lose steam by the second. We need to make sure we bring in new ideas, new knowledge, okay? Because if we have empty tanks ourselves, if we own ourselves our dead batteries, we can't charge dead batteries. We need to make sure we are either full of tanks, okay, or we have refueled the old fuel is gone, and we put the new fuel in, okay, new knowledge in, new techniques, new skills in, so we can make sure that our learners can learn from us and they can keep creating those boom moments. Okay. All right. So I encourage you guys to commit to 4 outgoing practices. First one will be engage your network. Network here, it not only students, also network will also be of fellow mentors, fellow lecturers, teachers, trainers, okay, in your network, because we learn from each other guys on daily basis. I always tell my learners on whenever I meet with them, okay, none of us, for example, let's say in this session today, we get 21 people, guys, none of us knows more than all of us. We all have knowledge, which we all have knowledge, this knowledge, which is technical knowledge, it's much more than all of us, okay? None of us has as much knowledge as all of us. We all learn from each other. When we keep engaged with the network, we learn from each other. Bet on yourself. We need to make sure, guys, that we trust each other. We treat each ourselves like a brand, okay? That means betting yourself, that we don't undervalue yourself, okay? Make sure that you're confident, you're self-motivated, and then build your toolkit. Basically, what this means is, okay, build your skill set, build your knowledge, get more ideas, get more education, get more sort of knowledge, go and share. And guys, finally, fill your tank. Any questions so far, guys? Ladies and gentlemen, any questions so far?
I have a question. If you're saying we need to create athlete learners, athletes, doesn't it make a child competitive? Because the world is already getting so competitive, and will it not give it the children will have an idea of competition in their minds, right? Will it not be like will it be good for them, like the competition thing? I don't know. I feel it's kind of
all right. Thank you, Ms. Devi. Listen, first of all, why should we not make kids competitive? Because this whole world is competitive. We need to make sure we can compete. We can compete in all competitions. Okay, but the kids should learn this from beginning, because life has become more tough. Okay, I'm actually an accountant by profession, but no, we have artificial intelligence, and I'm already feeling that under threat, because I have to work extra hard now to compete with artificial intelligence. So we need to make sure when we talk about athletes, basically means an athlete is not really somebody who can just wake up in the morning and say, okay, I'm going to go into marathon. They need to practice a lot. They need to work very hard to go and win those competitions. So we need to make sure every student has the same approach, athletic approach. They keep, they sort of work in a system, a procedure, a process. Then they have to learn that much. So I would say it'll work better for everyone. Okay, if we keep kids, competitive from very beginning, then they will not feel any difference later on. They'll get used to it. Thank you, Ms. Adi. Does that answer your question? Anybody else?
Brother,
Sorry,
please
go ahead. Go ahead.
What, please?
Okay.
Please go ahead.
I wanted to ask you that you said we shouldn't be engaging the heart and mind. So what is it that we're engaging then?
I said we should be engaging heart and minds.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, that's fine. Without heart and mind, we can't win anything. We will be wasting our time and students' time as well. Every time we teach something, we have to teach them with the hearts and minds. Students should have their heart, they want to learn themselves, okay, and mind that they are grabbing everything. Every time we teach something, they're grabbing it. Anybody else, guys?
I have the learning athlete. The way I understand it is that it is not. It is not about competition so much, but it is like the way they train themselves. That they like an athlete. I'm just right now on a website, and it gives a model of how they train, and it is like they first have a vision, then they plan for it, how to do the training, and then they do that exercise, and at the end they reflect. So in the same way that the learn like an athlete, the model is the given is like a vision, plan, learn, and reflect. So I think what you are talking in that learning athlete is give the respective hours for learning, because
Thank you.
without respective hours, it will not result in learning as much.
Okay, so Yasin, thank you for
Am I
that.
correct? Am I
Oh,
correct?
so Yasin, thank you very much. Because you made a very good point there. What I was trying to say was, as learning athletes, we need to build people's habits in such a way it becomes our second nature. We don't need to think about it. We need to build the habits in such a way they are training like athletes, not really become athletes, but learning athletes are that they know exactly what they're supposed to do as a habit as going along. And of course, when they think like an athlete as a learner, they will become much better learners. That's the whole approach. Okay, anybody else, guys, before we move on?
I have two further questions which I put in the chat.
Okay.
One is that what is a boom moment? The second one is when you mentioned the brain maps, are you mentioning mind maps?
Okay, first one, let's go to the first one, boom moment. Okay, I don't know if you know Shahid Afridi in Pakistan. Shahid Afridi was a Pakistani cricketer. I think he retired now. His nickname was Boom Boom Afridi because every time he played cricket, he created boom moments for them. Similarly, in Javed Miandad was a cricket captain as well. There's one match in, I think, UAE, I think Pakistani team needed 30 or more than 30 runs to win. They only had one last over left. He managed to score 6 in every single ball he played in the last over, and Pakistan team won. So we need to make sure that we create some moments for students. We need to create some knowledge which somebody who doesn't know exactly what they already know, and then that comes out of them. For example, let me give one small example here. I worked with a night porter. I worked for a large hotel in London back in early 90s. This porter, he was very obnoxious, very arrogant. He used to use F words and Hoover, F word carpet, everything was for him F word. No one liked him very much because he was very, sort of arrogant. He was very rude to everyone. He was not properly dressed all the time. Shirt has spots everywhere. Hair was quite scruffy. One day he says to me, "No one wants to train me." I said, "Why should they train you? I think you like to stay a porter for the rest of your life." No, I don't want to like to stay a porter. In that case, why don't we start something? So I said, if you can stop swearing, I can teach and train you. I was his manager. So basically what we agreed was we put a little ball on the desk with every time you swear, you put 50p in the ball. First evening, we made 32 pounds from his tips. All night team, they had tea and coffees, hot chocolate from his money, from his tips. So second day, it went down to, I think, 20 pounds or something. After 1 week, 0. Every time he wanted to swear, he'll put hand on his mouth and stop himself. Later on, this guy, when I started teaching him and training him, following week, he came back with nice suit on. He had nice haircut. He looked like a different person. I didn't recognize him as person. I said, hold on, who's this person? Oh, yes, this guy Richard. So when I left the job, they promoted him in my position. They asked me, is he ready? Yes, he's ready. So you need to bring something out from people which they don't already know. We need to set up, see potential in someone and bring that out. So, Siyasan, can you please let me know second question? I forgot what second question was.
Mind maps, are the brain maps, you mean mind maps, or these are different?
Yeah, mind and brain is same thing. Okay, basically we need to make sure that they have room for everything. Like, for example, let's say degree students who doing degrees, they have to learn mathematics, they have to learn HR and everything, so they understand basically this is all practical life. So they need to understand every single thing. So they need to make spaces, shelves everywhere in the mind or in the brain where everything will be absorbed and learned. Okay, I need to move on now, and I'll ask questions then because I need to only have 8 minutes left now. Next one, guys, we have passive versus active learning. Why not just lecture? Okay, guys, I know when we were learning at that time we had just lectures. So a lot of students in our classes, they didn't go ahead because they didn't really work hard themselves. People who you are in professional capabilities, just tap yourself on the back because you have worked very hard by yourself. Because if you had not created different learning activities yourself, learning techniques yourself, you would not been here where you are now. Okay, because at that time we had just lectures. But these days, just lectures are not enough. We need to have some activities in class. We need to engage people, in role playing and everything. So guys, learners need to be engaged, active, engaged, challenged, and purpose driven. So if you don't challenge your learners, don't ask them questions, don't put them on spot, don't get them engaged, don't make them active, okay, then of course we won't achieve our objectives. The value of engaged learner, guys. Can you imagine a student is engaged in class, and one student is totally unengaged? Can you imagine, what the difference will be when time comes for assessment? Engaged students will have no problem going through it. They will know, they'll go with flying colors. But student who was not engaged, they will have to, at that time they will go under pressure. In universities these days in UK, because I teach in about 3-4 universities at the same time as well with a visiting lecturer. So students, lot of students who can't get their work done, they pay people to do the assignment for them. They spend lots of money. Every single assessment, every single assignment, every single set of semester, they pay people to do assignments because they didn't take part in learning at the time. They didn't get engaged in classes, and they can't do the work. One very commonly used practice is the Cornell method of notes taking. This is very important. Basically, if you look at the picture on the right hand side, first of all, write the title here, what the topic is for today, write the date. Okay, it could be lecture name, it could be class name. Then write down, students can write down the keywords they're listening in the lecture. They write the keywords, and then also the second part of this the same page will be going through questions. Any questions they might have in mind, because one question comes to mind, later you forget of a question. But if you write it down, when lecture ends, when class finishes, you ask teacher the question, and then of course at the bottom, you should summarize what you learned today in one session. Okay, summarizing will be very important. At that time, when you summarize, you have fresh knowledge. You can remember everything, and later on, when you're trying to revise it, you simply go through your Cornell notes, and everything will come clear to you. It's your own writing. Okay. So guys, this if you have not tried it before, please try this. The Cornell method of notes. It works very well. I tried in corporate training and also lecturing as well. For me, it works wonders. Okay, guys, next one. Let's guys introduce model of AD. AD model, guys, is very, very famous, used in industry everywhere, okay, and especially in famous universities and corporate training environment. So AD basically stands for analysis, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. Analysis basically means we need to make sure that we have a systematic exploration of the way things are and the way things should be. So we need to see exactly where the students are, where they should be. We need to look at the performance gap. And then when we can analyze that, next step will be to design based on analysis, okay, the design our materials in such a way to cover that performance gap, okay? And following we have is develop. Using the information gathered in analysis and design, we need to basically design solutions for performance gap. And next one will be implement. This stage includes delivery of the performance solution. So we basically, whatever we have analyzed, we design the learning on that, and we develop, the solution for that. And we need to, this is time to evaluate, to implement that, to put that into action. And following that, we'll have evaluate. Evaluate basically means we need to make sure, have we achieved the objective which we had? Did we achieve those, learning gaps or not? What we sort of basically had planned, is it working for us or not? Did we achieve all the learning objectives we had? Did we fill the performance gap we had or not? And then, of course, we can go back again. This is like a cycle, okay? Analysis, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. Basically, simply, guys, keep in mind, ADDIE, ADDIE model. Okay. Engagement strategies for learners. First of all, guys, this is the simple points I put here. We'll talk briefly about them. Problem-based learning. We need to give students some problems. Okay, let's say we can talk about some case study. And ask them, okay, here the study was here, this was going on, and what can you do about it? If they can solve a case study, and then of course then they are trying to go into practice of problem solving while they're students, while they're learning. Use index cards are very common. These things. For example, even in accountancy, AATs, ACA, CCA, CIMA, etc. So they all use index cards, which are used for revisions. Think, pair, and share, guys. Think, pair, and share. We need to put people in groups so they can think like a group think, and then of course they can apply, they can share the knowledge with together. This is a very fast way of learning it. Leverage flip charts, guys. We can put people in groups, and they can work in different flip charts. They can take one page of flip chart, A3 page, and then of course they can start putting their ideas through. And then summarizing, guys, is very important. So when we ask students in class to summarize what they learned today, let's say we covered one topic, one page, ask one student to summarize what I said to you. And if that student can summarize, next student can summarize, of course, the concept will be very clear to all the students in class. Role playing. Role playing is very important. You know, let's say we in corporate training we use this a lot. Let's say customer and a buyer, customer buyer, or maybe a shopkeeper. Let's say we're working as in a hotel, so hotel manager, and of course a customer comes in to check in. So these are role playing techniques which can sort of bring practical experience. Student presentations. Let's say you finish one module or moment. Okay, let's say you finish one topic. You spend 3 months, covering some topics, and when this all semester is over, module is over, you take one topic each and give one student to talk about that for nearly, let's say, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So give different topics to different students. So in this way, they can all cover the whole module you covered already. Okay, so basically, then apart from your teaching to them, they're learning from peers as well. Okay, they're learning from peers and they're learning from what they've said as well. So of course, everyone will work very hard not to embarrass themselves. Okay, it's just basically a simple thing. If students are shy to talk to present themselves first of all, ask them to present about anything at all. They can present about their pet, for example. They can present about their favorite city, favorite game, etc. Once they get into confidence, of course, at that time, you can ask them to present their learning topics. And then, guys, we have content recall activities. Let's see, in this way, we can talk about what we covered last week. If students can recall that, or you can recall in the beginning, then ask somebody else to recover that as well. So if they can recall what they learned last time and connect what they're going to learn today and then in future. So of course, this is basically all setting places in their mind maps. Okay. Then guys, we have to create simulations. Simulations are, let me give you an example of, let's say, MUS building where we have a fire drill every Monday morning. We like to make sure that when fire alarm rings, everyone gathers at a meeting point. Fire masters are wearing this yellow jackets, and they have megaphones in hand. They bring everyone to meeting point. And one person goes to investigate where the fire was coming from, which zone the fire is from. So this basically is to prepare ourselves for real situations. Then next we have blogs. We can encourage students, if they're old enough, to write blogs or read blogs, go into wikis, and use collaborative work. I know it's been very tough during the COVID-19. Most people have been learning online, so people can't really get in groups, guys. But I can tell you that WhatsApp has a capacity of 8 people. They can do a conference call, free conference call, video or voice conference call. So we can ask students to work in groups of WhatsApp. Create, they can have their own groups, but create a WhatsApp group. So they can basically, when you give them an activity, if they're not all sitting together, they can still have collaboration. They still can work together. I think, guys, my time is up now because it's just that I have more slides, but inshallah, we'll cover that another time. I think it's over time very soon. Any question before we go?
Sorry, brother Rahat. I thought you had until 1:10. So it's 10:12. So you have
10
one
past,
more hour.
okay, 10, okay. In that case, that's fine.
Probably that's why you were hurrying up to us. Sorry if there was any confusion.
Right.
No, we changed your slot. Yeah, we as you were not available in the beginning.
Okay.
So you can carry on until
all right.
another
That's fine.
time. That's what we discussed.
Sure.
Okay,
I don't think we'll go to
take
our
your
time because I went a bit fast, but let's see how far it goes. Anyway.
Okay, no worries.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next one is understanding, knowing, and respecting your students. This is very important. Okay, respect is very important. We can't just because we are professionals. We have more knowledge. We have more sort of status in society. It doesn't mean our students they should be totally ignored. They should not be respected. We need to understand your learners. We need to know exactly what your learners are. We need to understand. If you don't understand your learners, basically, you can't teach them properly. Every single student in your class, we should get to know every single one. Okay, talk to them. Maybe have one-to-one with them, and ask them questions about what they already know, what they want to learn, what they want to get out of it. Ask their preferences. Right. Make notes about them. Of course, then first of all, they'll open up to you in 1 or 2 sessions. And then, of course, once we understand them better, we can prepare better strategies for teaching them. Barriers to understanding your learners. Okay, there could be some barriers, like earlier on, a lady asked a question about if the students are very shy. Okay, so guys, we all very different. Okay, some students will be shy, of course. Some students will be very confident. We need to make sure that we can make the shy people unshy. Okay, by getting them more involved. I once went to teach a key lecture. Training session of communication skills in Saudi Arabia. So they said to me, we have some culture issues, Mr. Kazmi. What's culture issues? Oh, we got some ladies in groups as well. Okay, that's fine. I was born in Pakistan, so that's fine. I know understand the cultural issues. Don't worry at all. Everything will be fine. So one session was supervisors, one was managers. So again, same topic, but I had to there are custom make this training of communication skills at the levels. So because I was from UK, I had treated everyone exactly the same way. Respect to ladies, respect to gents. I've treated everyone exactly the same. So when ladies realized I'm giving a lot of respect, they all spoke up, and they were so smart, so sharp. They asked me so many questions, and they opened up. And by lunchtime, only ladies were talking, and men were just shy, and ladies were just taking part. So at the end of the day, when basically what happened was, I actually told them my feedback was, ladies, they are very clever, they're very smart, but they lack empowerment. Every time you ask them a question, how will you do it? I'll ask my manager, sir. But you already know the answer. I still ask my manager, sir. Why you still ask your manager? Because I told the company, ladies are very smart, but we need to give them some empowerment, some confidence. Okay, so simply when students are shy, we need to empower them a little. We need to sort of talk about the thing which they basically will find more interesting. So respecting students, guys, it's very important. It's just, if we don't respect students, we won't get respect back. Respect, comes with respect. We make sure we get them. Of course, I talk to my students. I usually call them Mr. Miss, no even. No, it's just that this helps. And then, of course, when students call me Mr. Kazmi, I usually tell them, okay, just call me Rahat, please. It's okay. Rahat is fine. Don't call me Mr. Kazmi. It then becomes into more, sort of formalities. Strive to make yourself approachable and accessible to your learners. So basically, we should have such pace of teaching and learning. We should such point that everyone knows that they can talk to us. They can talk to us and ask us any question. They can, come to us anytime they need help. Anytime they question, they can come talk to us. This should be our approach. Be a consummate professional with includes acting and dressing professionally. If we're going to present ourselves as professionals, we have to act professional. We have to dress like professionals too. This will make a big difference, guys. Please believe me. I know that's perfect. If you go up, dress up, in baggy jeans to work, or baggy track suits, bottoms, and with all the maybe different sort of strange dressing up coats, students will laugh at you. Once I was working at Sheraton Heathrow Airport, and we had one receptionist. One morning she come to work with bright red hair. We had to send her back because we couldn't have people, going through in the reception and looking at her, what she looks like. So we had to send her back, ask her to go back, change your hair again. We just said this looked totally unprofessional and out of touch here. We need to make sure that we act professional, we dress like professionals. This will make a big difference, guys. Please believe me that I've tried it and it works very well. Be transparent and flexible. Okay, flexibility basically shows that if someone asks you to stay behind our class, ask a question, answer a question, we should do that. Answer the email, reply back to them. Okay, transparent, everything is clear. We need to tell them what the learning objectives are to start with. Okay, what we're going to teach them. And at the end of the day, students should go through, they should know exactly where the topic is starting from, where it will end. Okay, that's when we have transparency there, everything will be clear. People don't want to learn when they're not clear about what they are going to learn, what they can achieve. Okay, when everything is clear to them and the whole map is clear to them, this is where we start, this is where we go, take a break here, this is end the point. Of course, in that way, it'll make more sense to everyone. Okay, being passionate and enthusiastic, conveying your passion for teaching. Guys, passion for teaching. What if the students realize this, you're a passionate teacher, you're a passionate trainer. I can tell you guys from my own experience, people will really listen to you. They'll take every single word you say to them. Okay. I'll give you one small example here. Okay. When I was learning Urdu in Pakistan, doing my degree, we had Urdu teacher. His name was Abdul Wahid. So the strategy was, okay, Abdul Wahid, when he came to study in England, his mother got his girlfriend, a lady he wanted to marry, to his older brother. So when he came back to Pakistan at that time, he was very upset, very sad, because of course the lady he wanted to marry, he got married to his brother. He became his sister-in-law instead of his own wife. Other day, someone shared some joke with me. The joke was basically, if a poet marries a lady, and if the wife is very good, life will be great. If wife is not very good, poetry will be great. So what it was basically, when this teacher will translate the poetry of, let's say, Mir Sakimir or Ghalib, etc. So he used to put his mind into it. He used to put his heart into it, and in the translation, and it used to work really well. And some students used to teach Abdul Wahid because they used to write on the blackboard, Wahid tum kab tak Wahid rahoge. Wahid, how long? Wahid means single. How long will you stay single? And one day, basically, he was translating one poetry of Mir Saki Mir. Basically, what he said was, in this verse, poet says that my head should be in the lap of my lover, and her hair are hanging on top of my face, and then of course there's a jam, basically means the wine or alcohol was tipping from there, and then I was drinking it. One student says, "Sir, if a poet had if the man had lices in his hair, if the lady had lices in her hair," the teacher said, no, excuse me, I was not talking about your beloved. I was talking about the poet's beloved. So basically, because of this tragedy with this teacher, he had basically taught from his heart. We need to sort of bring some passion. We need to have some deep interest with the topic or subject we teach from, and in this way, our teaching becomes totally natural. Okay, teaching a love of learning. So when we can create a love of learning in our students, our learners, of course, this will make a big difference. We need to tell them exactly why the learning should take place, why they need to learn, what will help them, what will create for them. Creating a learning community. What MUS is doing at the moment is basically creating a learning community. We like to make sure people are aware of Islamic teaching, of other teaching as well, because we have volunteered to teach in different ways. So of course, we are trying to create a learning community here as well. Hopefully, inshallah, this will succeed. Building study skills. This is sort of great way to do it. We need to make sure that we are trying to create study skills. People know exactly how to study, how to study properly, how will make sense. Some people think skim reading is very difficult and people can hardly learn it. I was once involved with Aviva. I used to work with them as financial analyst a long time ago, and my job was every week to go through a project manager report. It would be 30,000 words or 35,000 words. I had to write a summary up to 500 words completely only, and summarize and present to my boss to make sure the project we're looking at, the project is dead or alive. So basically, after 1 week or so, I got used to skim reading. I will look for information. I look the page, whole page of text, and exactly what I'm looking for is there or not. How many people work there? What the revenues were taken? How much money was invested initially? Is the project dead or alive? So I will go through that information, skim read it, and learn a lot. So this was the technique of this, because this I had to customize myself, learning reading so fast and trying to understand it. So we can bring different skills in, okay, to make sure that we build study skills in people. Setting expectations. This is very important, people. Listen, when I start a class, okay, let's say at universities, I usually ask questions from my students. I ask them, do you like brands? Brands in clothes, for example, brands in watch, maybe electronics, car. And they all say yes. Most people say yes. I like this brand, I like that brand. Okay. Then my next question really is, if you like a brand, why do you like it? And then they start telling me about the brand is so great, brand is so good because it has good reputation, it's got very good quality. For example, let's say we talk about BMW, it's called ultimate driving machine. BMW really are good cars, but I'm not saying that BMW is the best car, but it's a very good car. Some people who like it, they love it very much. So they will talk about how good it is, how fantastic it is, what kind of it's pleasure it gives us to drive it or use it. Similarly, when I ask them, the last question is, okay, so are you a brand? And most people say, no, oh, I'm not a brand, I'm just a person. Well, are you a brand person? No, I'm not. So then I ask them, really, okay, why are you not a brand person? Why are you not a brand? Why do you not believe in yourself? You need to believe in yourself before other people can believe in you. So we need to set expectations in ourselves. We need to tell students as well, our learners, that they all are brands. But they need to keep building their brand even better and better. So these are setting expectations. Then, of course, grading fairly. When we sort of grade their marks, we need to make sure that we look at the criteria, what was expected of them, have they sort of scored it properly, have they answered the question properly, precisely, Was it in great detail? Was it just simple answer, basic answer? Have they gone into, excellent way of doing it? Of course, we grade fairly, and of course, this will, will make good impression on all students, and they'll all will increase your respect. Okay, guys, this one is very important as well. Incorporating technology into mix. Because long time ago when we learned, I think most of you, I'm not sure, some of you my age, some will be a lot younger, okay. But when I was learning, definitely, guys, at that time we had no technology involved in learning. Teacher will come and write on blackboard. Important point. They'll just they have learned their lecture by rote and just go through it and just go away. Because these days we have a new technology. Everybody, most people, they are using they're addicted to use their phone. They have to have their phone on all the time. They need to turn the apps on. They keep looking at here and there. So we need to engage them on what they are addicted to. We need to make sure if they're addicted to their phone, we give them activities to use their phone all the time. We can create some pages on Facebook. So they can go into Facebook by excuse of going to Facebook, but they can go into their own page, the page which we've created for their learning. We can create LinkedIn groups for them. We can create Twitter hashtags. We can create wikis and blogs for them, so they can still learn from it. Okay, and students can have discussion there, but they still go into social media as a habit or as an addiction to go there. But of course, they learn from it. Setting social media boundaries with students. Of course, when we are lectures with students, of course, in universities whenever we teach, we're not even supposed to give students our phone numbers or our email addresses. It has to be only official. So these are boundaries. Okay, if someone connects with me on let's say LinkedIn, some universities they allow it, some universities they won't allow it. But of course, if we are running a group, okay, if I'm group admin or somebody else with me as a group admin and everybody else is a group member there, of course, that's still professional because it's all, we're setting a media boundary there. Everyone complies to it, okay? Design blended courses with Google Apps. So of course, the Google app, we also have Microsoft apps as well. The Google Drive, we have OneDrive in Microsoft. Google side, we got Microsoft Slides, Microsoft Sheets, Microsoft Forms as well. So this competition between Google and Microsoft has worked really well for us because we're getting everything for free. Everything is so good. Okay, everything is online. In universities these days, they use applications really well, Google Apps, and they use this Microsoft apps. So if you need to share something, anyone can access it. You can basically keep it open. I'll send a link to everyone in the class in WhatsApp, for example. Everyone can access it. Everyone can see exactly what you're doing. Okay, they can see exactly the sheet, the slide you're sharing. Even everyone can make notes there. You can ask someone to answer the question for you. They'll do that. When we have group activities, group activities in training videos, training class sessions, or maybe in universities. So we can ask students, let's say, to prepare one PowerPoint presentation together. They can all do that. They can all play their part. One person can add some comments. Next person can add the comments. Of course, everyone can write which page number was done by who, etc. Who's taking part in this activity. So, guys, these are technology has to be brought in practice all the time. Design blended courses to Google Apps. So we need to make sure that we share information on Google. When somebody has to share information with us instead of emailing us, they can share on Google Drive. They can share with us some slides and share with us. So simply you just amend, write your comments there, write your notes there, or give them feedback and send it back and just save it there. Simply leave it and it'll save itself. So these things can be very, very important, very helpful in teaching if we bring technology, into our classrooms. Blending with mobile phones, guys. Mobile phones, we need to make sure anything we prepare is also mobile phone friendly. Okay, sometimes we see that if you have some let's say blog prepared, there's some pictures taken or some videos there, it might work really well on certain browsers, but it will not work really well into mobile phones. So we need to make sure that everything we prepare is also mobile phone friendly and can work in different browsers too. Blending with videos. These days, videos play a big role. Okay, I know that YouTube started many years ago as a small video sharing platform, but these days it's really multi-billion platform because so many people are sharing videos from YouTube and so many people are learning themselves. I can tell you, I learned professional photography from YouTube. I did 1 or 2 courses too, but at the same time, it was my passion, my hobby. So I learned that from watching videos of very famous photographers, learned from them the techniques of architecture, photography, wild photography, portrait photography. YouTube can teach a lot of things today. We can basically We can save a lot of things. We can learn anything we need. Ask questions these days. You just simply ask Google or YouTube. You get answers these days. Learning has become a lot easier. When I did my master's, in corporate finance from Leicester University, back in I started in '98, finished in 21. I was doing part time. I once borrowed a book from library, and because of living in London, studying in Leicester, I didn't go back on time, and I had to pay a £72 fine for books if the books were late. After that, I never went back to libraries to borrow books. I only went online to, download ebooks, or maybe go to e-libraries and just borrow books from them. I read them from there. So basically, this is how my habit has become since late '90s. Okay, and I'm sure if you ask students to borrow books from libraries, it'll be very little. They'll do that. Or some people do not be even interested to go to libraries. So we need to work, as per the current atmosphere, how people are thinking, how people's culture is these days. Okay, so we need to bring technology into our teaching and training, and hopefully things will work a lot better. Encouraging active learning and critical thinking. Fostering class discussions. Class discussions are very important. I can give you one a small story here. I was once training a session in Brixton. It was a private session organized by a job center plus there, and I had to give lecture of liability to some students there. So this was actually 2 weeks video, 2 weeks course. In the course, I had about 20 people there. About 20 people, about 9 African people. One African person was he was wearing a colored cap, which really called known as banana cap, banana republic, like that something. And he had Rastafarian hair. He looked very smart, He was well dressed, in my opinion. He looked quite hygienic, but no other black person wanted to sit next to him. And I was very confused. What's going on here? Why black people don't like black people? And after the third day, when we came back, third day, I asked everyone to present something. I was trying to build up their confidence. So I asked them to talk about anything at all, anything you know. We'll talk about this topic later on, employability, but today you present anything at all. Anything you'd like to talk about. You get 5 minutes, you have to stand up though. Can't sit there and talk, you have to stand up and talk to the group about anything. This person, Caribbean person, he said, can I talk about music? Yes, sure. He talked about the pitch of sound, pitch of voice. He explained in such a way, even I couldn't do that. So after his presentation, everyone was so respectful to him. They got so much respect for him. Every next day when they came back, they all want to sit next to him. Because this person, they realized his talent. He was also a professional tailor. Okay, so basically, just this is how we need to make sure that we are developing critical thinking. Okay, we have discussion in class. Discussions, can open up people to each other. Okay, and making learning active. Everyone is active learning. Everyone is engaged. Everyone is taking part in activities. Continually improving your teaching. Okay, guys. Basically, we need to make sure we don't keep teaching same lessons, same examples all the time, because otherwise our teaching, our lecturing will become totally boring. So we need to bring new materials into teaching so people can bring new stuff. If just like we talk about, one Maulana, he has one, let's say 10 Muharram Majalis. If they read the same Majalis every single year, after a few years, no one will like to invite them because people have heard their videos, heard their Majalis, every single year, either in person or through videos or YouTube, of course, and they have to keep improving. Similarly, guys, in teaching as well, we have to keep improving our knowledge so we can pass on the new knowledge to students. Conveying your knowledge, okay? Conveying your knowledge. We need to make sure we convey the knowledge in such a way that everyone gets something out of it. We all know that not everybody learns the same way. Some people learn differently from others, so we can't, treat everyone the same way. We have to treat everyone individually, okay? Of course, we sometimes we are out of time, but of course, we need to make sure our teaching and materials which are prepared in such a way that everyone gets something out of it. Adapting a changing environment, guys. We are going through changing environments all the time. Imagine in 2019, we had no idea that we will come into online learning, will come into blended learning. It was very little, at this stage, but everyone has learned so much. Of course, everyone is doing something from home. Things have changed. People working from home. A lot of corporations, they have cut down on their let's say on their budgets. They had large offices before, but now they're working into small offices because people can manage from home. So this has given them an opportunity. Okay. Similarly, we've gone through this style. I'm sure I can see a lot of courses though offered by universities, online teaching. online teaching by even Oxford University, Cambridge University. They're offering a lot cheaper courses where they used to ask for £50,000 a year. Now they're doing £18,000 a year. We still get a degree from the university, but it's not cheaper. It's less than half even. So of course we had to adapt, as per our learning environment. Okay, our environment is changing. We had to change our techniques as well. We had to change our ways of teaching and training. Connecting to the world outside of academia, guys. This is very important. If you are teaching and training, okay, it's better to sometimes change the environment a little bit, call some guest speakers, okay, to talk about something. We can talk to some senior Maulanas, maybe somebody else from outside, and let students ask some questions. I know once I was in university and
so Brother Rahat, yeah, this is a very good suggestion. I would like to add something over here.
Sure.
So firstly, thank you. I think you have been talking about the corporate and professional trainings, and obviously that's something that should be the standard we should be delivering our classes and teaching when we're teaching in madrasa classes. So personally, I've noticed whenever I invited a speaker like a Maulana, then children, they were more attentive. They were listening, and even those who were not behaving well, when they see a guest or Maulana, then they are on their best behavior, and also probably it's a change, and they are keen to learn and hear from new people. So I would definitely endorse that. This is something that really works well.
excellent. Thank you, Mr. Bhai. Okay, so guys, guest speakers are very important. I once was basically in Leicester University, and we had our university had invited Tom Peters. Tom Peters is an author who wrote lots of books on management. And one day he was talking about management theories, and I had a bad habit as students. Although I was executive student, but still I had to ask lots of questions. And if I didn't get my answer, I will be still, it'll keep going in my head all the time. I had to ask this question. So I asked a question from Mr. Peters. Mr. Peters, you are a book of you have author of lots of books of management. You are also a lecturer in top universities. I have one question, as a student, because in my opinion, Japanese people, they follow British management theories. British people, they follow American management theories, and American follow the Japanese management theories. So I asked him the question, Mr. Peter, who should I follow? I don't like to waste the time, okay? I like to save my time and follow the right culture, right management theories. He said to me, hold on, this is not easy question to answer, but I'll do my best. I'll do my best to answer the question. He said was when British and American workers, when they go to work, they leave their brain at home. When he said that, everyone in class said, oh, excuse me. No, he said, oh, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to offend anyone. This is reality. This is true. This is what happens. People, when they go A to B, they're told go to A to B. They only go A to B. They never try to go A to C. Let me give you an example, guys. When, let's say you go to Tesco's, you go to John Lewis or maybe House of Fraser, these kind of stores. A cashier is serving you. Cashier made a mistake on the till, and they'll press a button, and a red light starts revolving on the till. A cashier comes to a supervisor comes to help them. A supervisor comes and walks on the floor like they on the floor. They'll have a big bunch of keys on the belt, on the belt, and they'll come in. They'll put the key on the Z button, and then they'll correct the mistake, but give them a dirty look as well. They know you made this mistake. When the cashier calls them second time by mistake, for example, and then even dirtier look, they'll still not teach them what to do. They'll still not correct them how to correct the mistake, and they'll simply walk away. But he said, when a Japanese worker makes a mistake, he goes to his boss. I'm so sorry, boss, I made a mistake. Okay, you made a mistake? Well done. Now go and fix it. Now, when this worker made a mistake, he fixes his own mistake. And basically, this person has become more creative now. Can you imagine when I first came to UK, I wanted to buy German cars, but in German cars, the idea was if you want electric windows, you pay more money. Electric doors, electric side mirrors, more money. Sunroof, more money. Power steering, more money. Just like Dell computer, price had gone really up. Japanese companies like Toyota and Honda and everybody, they had done lots of innovation because they have become more creative. They have brought the cars fully loaded, a lot cheaper than German cars. Then of course German cars also have to bring the price down, otherwise they'll be out of business soon. Because this is how we need to set up. We need to create people. They can become total creative. They can start thinking about what can be done. If they make mistakes, they correct themselves. They learn from themselves. Next one, guys, we have conducting service-based learning projects. Use of multimedia and open educational resources, guys. If we look around it, we have a lot of resources available. TED Talks, they talk about a lot of educational projects. Khan Academy, MIT Open Courseware, OER Commons, Open Learn, etc. Guys, there are lots of platforms there which we can learn from, which you can keep watching. Of course, if you like to look for more professional ones, paid ones, then there are services like lynda.com, Udemy, or these kind of projects are there, which you can learn a lot of skills yourself. Simply, buy a course online and just pay for it. And these ones, which I just mentioned here on slides, they're free of charge. We have to increase student control, choices, and independence. We like to make sure students take control of their own learning. We have to explain to students that learning basically is your responsibility. As a teacher, as a trainer, we are their facilitators. Okay, but it's their responsibility. They should not treat the learning like a rented room. Like like you rent a car, for example, as compared to you own a car and drive. Let's go rent a car. You can go into bumps and jumps here, there. You won't care. You can drive roughly. But when it's your own car, you treat it really lots of respect. A lot of care. So we need to make sure we tell our students the learning is your basic responsibility. It's your own agenda. Okay, it's yours. We are there only to facilitate it. Once you can convey this message, of course, then from there on, learning can become a lot more smoother. And also the slides, guys. Anybody has any questions? Please feel free to let me know. Ms. Umay, I'm sorry I finished a bit earlier because I sped up. I thought maybe I only had half an hour. So anyone any questions?
Okay, no worries. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask everyone.
Anybody? Don't be shy, guys. Any questions? Please let me know.
Yeah, Rahat bhai, he is very experienced. Usually, it takes 2-3 days to deliver his teachers training sessions. I requested him to be really quick, and somehow I think he thought it's only 40 minutes, but although he had 1 hour and I think about 40 minutes.
I apologize.
No worries. And if you have any questions, yeah.
Rather, can you elaborate further on learning athlete thing?
Yeah, learning athlete, as I explained earlier, basically it's a mindset. We need to create a mindset of people, like a habit that they have, like athletes, they had to do some exercises, they had to go for a run, etc. They had to prepare themselves, in many ways, mentally, psychologically, and then they, of course, when the time comes, they're fully ready. So we need to make sure that we bring them into this mindset. Then we had to work that hard to achieve that. Okay, basically, when I was in school, my dad used to always get very upset when I came second in school. When, let's say, I had position board, for example, maybe I didn't top the board, I came third in board. Okay, he said, "Oh, you can do the first as well. You can even," of course, somehow I realized that was not very encouraging, but of course, he has set targets for me that you can do that. Learning athletes are, in my opinion, when we create people's mindset, just like an athlete who wants to win the marathon, okay, and for winning marathon, let's say out of 2,000 people for, let's say, 10 or 15 miles run, isn't that easy. So they had to build up the stamina. So we had to keep engaging them, keep training them, sort of keep set up, engaging, try to encourage them and motivate them in such a way that they think like an athlete. If you can, anyone can understand what athlete is supposed to do. Simply, instead of athlete for sports, we create that athlete in learning. That's as simple as that. Anybody else?
Regarding the study skills, when you said building study skills, what skills exactly? I mean, would you like to say? What are the skill types?
Okay, study skills basically is how best can we learn. Okay, for example, I still remember when we had one teacher. in school time when this teacher used to say, okay, everyone stand up, okay, answer this question, answer this question. And then of course people used to get very shy, some didn't answer questions. We had this teacher change, new teacher came, he said, no, don't have to say anything in front of me. This is topic, just go and write answer. So he said to us, write answer in heading and subheadings. So when we spend, let's say we have 20 marks for one question, we're writing 2 pages on that. We written about, let's say, about 10 headings, maybe 3 or 4 subheading in each of them, or maybe one subheading each. So we have basically covered those topics early. We can see exactly what the question was. Has the student covered all those topics in heading and subheading or not? And we will not even bother reading all the text that is written there. So that was one study skill I learned at the time. So basically we can think of, well, let's say one student, he can't learn properly. He can't learn by reading. So we can tell them, okay, maybe watch some videos. Maybe, sort of, write down what you learn. We also talk about, the cornell study, most note taking in the class. If students can write down the questions, they can write down the keywords, that's also a way of learning. There's so many techniques, we can adopt, depending on what level of teacher you're doing, who you're teaching. So if one will not apply to everyone, of course, it really depends on the level of people who are learners. So of course, more senior, we can adopt a different technique, but we need to create we need to customize them as per our groups, as per our learners.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, Mr. Bhai, is that okay if I take permission to leave? If any no more questions.
Okay, sure.
I mean, I have one more point.
Yeah, sure. Go on, please.
Which I actually, it's not covered in the presentation. It may be some other presentation, and that is about those learners. If they have any disabilities or like mental health, for example. If some learners have mental health issues, or if they have autism or like that, so how to, for example, deal with them? So if this, I mean, is there any presentation that is covering that?
Okay, so yes, and basically,
no, we are not covering today
okay,
as a topic.
fine.
Sorry,
Okay.
as a topic, it's a specialized area. We did want to cover one topic, but there was suggestion that we have separate sections for that. But if Rahat, if you would like to add anything, please do.
Yeah, sure. So basically, I'm not qualified for dyslexic learning or other, but of course, I had once I had a student. He was doing master degree from De Montfort University. I was living in Fulham at the time, and he came to study with me, a black gentleman. And I had my nieces visiting me from Canada, and basically we were they were in a separate room, listening to my teaching. So I asked this student, okay, when a car goes for MOT, he says, what is MOT? So explain to him what MOT is, and simple thing like this. I mean, most people will know what MOT is. A degree student doesn't know what MOT was. He never told me he was dyslexic. Neither his mother told me. But I was very patient with him. I took everything to basic level. If he didn't understand something, I went on to basic level. For example, in one group, I had one lady. I could train her in employability skills. She was East Seoul dropout. Okay, she was single mother of 7 kids. When I talked about motivation, she said, "What does motivation mean?" I said, "You said your kids were going to universities. Your 2 daughters in university. Why are you sending them to university?" He said, "Oh, because I don't want them to end up like me. I want them to have a better job." That's motivation. You have motivated them. So when I asked about teamwork, she said, "I don't know what teamwork means." I said, "Teamwork basically means, are you doing everything at home yourself?" No. She said, "Oh, basically my daughter does this, my son does this." And okay, in that case, you look like to me, you're a team manager. You're running your whole team. That's teamwork. So everyone works instead of cleaning all the house yourself, cooking everything yourself, to get your kids involved, they work like you as a team. So basically, I was very patient with the students, and to my surprise, 2 months later, his mom came with big box of chocolates. She said to me, "Mr. Kazmi, my son has gone to 3 different teachers before. He didn't pass this subject, but he came with you and he learned, he passed. And I really appreciate what you've done for him." And then she told me, she asked me, "Did you know he was dyslexic?" I have no idea, but I know he was slow, but I didn't know he was dyslexic. So basically, I would say, if you have no training, I would say take it easy, take it slow, be patient, okay, and try to understand their issues. So I'm sure it works, but normally I'm sure some students, some lecturers, teachers will have proper training to deal with that. Hope it clarifies your question.
Yes.
Do
In
you have
your
any more
in
questions?
your presentation,
Mhm.
sorry, if you have a few minutes, I'll just ask regarding the presentation that you have connecting to the world outside of academia.
Mhm.
The point number 2 and 3 and 5, which is the creating a corporate advisory council, service-based learning projects, and increase student control, choice, and independence. If it is possible, and if you have time, then please give a little elaboration.
Okay. When we say create corporate advisory council, this means that we can get some organization involved, some companies involved, corporations nearby can get involved. They can get involved with our learning and teaching. They can tell us what skill which let's say you are working as dean of university. You might have connection with local corporations, local companies. They will tell you what kind of skill set they need. So we can create courses for them, and they can hire students from you at the last semester when students are ready. That they basically, government really knows, some top question will know what skill set is in demand. So they create those skill set through universities, and then when those skills are ready, when students are in the final sessions of the degree, they come and hire them. So we get corporations involved as advisory to us. Okay. What the next one was conducting service-based learning.
Creating service-based learning projects.
Okay, so service-based basically means that when we are, let's say, at work. Okay, this is more. It's not like it doesn't really apply to schools and colleges, but this basically is for corporate world where people are working, and then we of course teach them through working. Okay, let's say just like on-job training kind of thing. Okay, when people I think in UK, example of that is probably AIT training, AIT technicians. So their lecturers, their trainers, they will go to the employers. They will tell them that we have trained them on these subjects, okay, and please involve them. Let's say one student has learned on profit and loss. So the mentor will go and tell the the organization where they're working. These students have learned about profit and loss. Please involve them in profit and loss. They can also learn the practicality of that as well. Similarly, when a lecture organization will tell you that they have been involved in this skill on daily basis, we can teach them at in university or college those skills which basically they are learning, they're finding difficulty. We can give them more idea of, let's say, theory, or maybe cover more example with that. So it's just basically it's both ways of sort of learning at work, and if the student is learning somewhere, let's say through AIT courses and all that, or mostly it's in corporate world where through job learning. Okay. And the last one was we said about increased student control, choice, independence. Yeah. Okay. Student
Yes.
control basically is when students, they are made responsible, they are empowered. Okay. They are empowered. This is their job. When we can convince, let's say, a message to them, the learning basically is their responsibility, their primary responsibility. A teacher, a trainer, or mentor is basically there to facilitate. It's not their job to teach you, train you. You have to learn yourself. You have to ask questions yourself. In UK, the culture is like that as well. Nobody, if you start a job, nobody will ever teach or train you. If you want to go further, you have to learn the skills yourself. You have to ask questions yourself. You have to learn yourself. So basically, we are trying to make people in control, the students in control, that they are the one in control of their own learning. So they can ask questions if they don't understand something, or they can ask, basically send emails later on. They can do some self-study later on, and then of course they come back to teacher and ask further questions if they have something unclear. The choices and independence, especially, so they can basically, as we talked about initially about the choices and consequences. Every time student makes a choice, there's a consequence next to it. So we need to make sure we explain to them what kind of choice is good for them. Our student can really let's say, research and see that every choice has a consequence. Is it going towards positive consequence or negative consequence? And of course, independence of learning will be that they can learn in their own pace. They can learn at home. They can learn while, basically driving around. I actually used to, when I did my MBA, corporate finance, at that time, my partner was also doing her MA education. So basically at that time, we were both working, kids as well. So I used to print some notes out let's say I had to do my assignment, so I had to print the notes out, and every time I'm going bus or train, I'm writing down, going through and highlighting information which I have, and trying to highlight exactly. Let's say I have assignment question number 2. I've seen that in answer of something, so I can write the answer to question 3A, question 3, answer to question 4B, and then when I go home, I put them all in order. When I need to do my assignment, basically, I'm already ready, so I got everything in plan. So once I have time to write down my assignment, I go through answers which I put down together in the same order. Okay, basically I can learn anytime. Basically, I can learn on the weekend at night time. So there should be no really time, really set time for us. When we have time, you can keep learning. This is your own independence of learning. Anything else? Is it clear, Sayyid Hassan?
Yes, thank you. That's all.
Okay. All right, Mr. Bhai, thank you very much. And I think I should
Thank
take
you very
permission
much.
to leave. Yeah.
Sure,
Thank you
thank you
everyone
very
for
much.
listening.
Rahat bhai.
No problem. Take good care, guys. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's time for our break. So let's have a break for about 1 hour. It's a lunch and prayer break. So inshallah, we will resume our sessions at 2 p.m. Okay, hope that's fine with everyone. I'll keep the session running. So if you want to join 5-10 minutes before, then please do so.
Misem,
Yes, please.
yeah, in your slide, it says that the next one is learner engagement techniques. Is it the same? I mean, it's okay.
Where
It
is
has
it?
changed. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, this
So
was from the
these two.
previous break. Thanks for
Okay. Thank you.
thanks for
Cheers.
pointing it
Okay.
out. Yeah.
No problem. Thank you.
No
Bye.
worries. Okay.
Thank you.
Speak to you.
Bye.